Hey everybody, it's Doug Green and I'm the publisher of Technology Reseller News. We're back here on another day of ChannelCon 2026 and I'm with Raffi of Triada Networks. Raffi, thank you for joining me today.
Of course.
So, here we actually have an interview, not with a vendor or an exhibitor, which is great, or a thought leader, but a person that's actually been active and involved in the organization GTIA, before that CompTIA. Raffi, thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure.
So before we dive into that, tell me a little bit about Triada Networks.
Triada Networks is a managed service provider based in northern New Jersey. We work with financial services companies all around the country. We started in 2008, and we have a team based in both New Jersey and overseas that we service our clients from there.
And you were just telling me that initially you were like sort of almost grandfathered into a membership through another organization, but you weren't really active.
Yeah, I joined CompTIA because it was an add-on to an existing organization I was part of, the ASCII group. I joined ASCII in 2008 when I first started my company. And one of the perks was being getting a CompTIA membership. And so I joined, not really knowing what I was doing or getting into, and I didn't do much with it for a couple of years until a friend in the industry pulled me in.
So here you are, you're out there doing what everyone does. You're building your business, and being a sort of a non-active member and so on. You were then pulled in. What does that mean? You were pulled in.
Well, Charles Love said to me, he said, "Look, I said you have a lot to provide to the industry. It's time for you to get involved and help shape kind of the things that the industry in general is going through and move it forward." And so I said, well, who'd be interested in talking to a little guy like me? But that was kind of the impetus for me to get more involved. So I joined the security community at the time. It was a couple years in, I think, for CompTIA at the time, for the security community. It was an offshoot of the MSP community. And at the time, Neil from Intronis was running it and really kind of showed me how to navigate CompTIA itself and the group. And so I involved myself into that group. We worked on a number of initiatives that eventually led me to be the vice chair and then the chair of the group. We kind of did the early stages of the reworking of the new certifications for businesses for CompTIA and the Security Plus Trust Mark, and then later on other parts of just kind of raising the bar for everybody in our industry as it relates to cybersecurity for MSPs.
And then comes the GTIA part.
Yeah, so GTIA, when we transitioned GTIA, I was because the tenures are only so many years in the groups, and then that group was transitioned to something else. I was moved into the members champion group, which is right now we're charged with helping boost additional membership into GTIA from the point of view of somebody that's not a GTIA staff. So we call on other MSPs, other vendors, try to get them involved. And then once they do come in, help them navigate GTIA and all that it has to offer. Because I think one of the things that GTIA, we say it all the time, like the last 10 years being a member, 10, 15 years being a member, it's the best kept secret. Let's not keep it a secret. Let's make sure that people understand that it's not only a benefit, but it's ultimately for you to do better in your business that you can then affect other people as well.
Raffi, you were telling me earlier that you when you get involved with the organization, all of a sudden your company hat comes off and you're all working together on a shared problem.
Yeah, it's one of the neat things about GTIA, because when you're in a let's say a standard setting where you have that vendor customer relationship, sure, as a customer of a vendor, you can affect them. There's advisory, but it's not in the same way. They're not talking about kind of big problems. And when you walk into the room, so to speak, theoretically, into one of these communities, you do take off your hat. You're no longer from Triada or Choice Security or Sophos or what have you. you're a person who has some knowledge and some experience that together we can solve industry issues and move forward. And it's very interesting because if you look at in any given year how it seems like you're not really moving much, but if you look across the entire spectrum of time that you're involved with a group, and from even as it's transitioning from person to person, the change that you can affect is actually quite massive.
What's your message for people that are watching that maybe run an MSP or a channel partner, things of this kind? Should they become a member?
I would I certainly wouldn't say that you shouldn't become a member. It is a you get what you get put into it. You get a lot of relationships coming to ChannelCon. It's a little bit of like a family reunion. It's a different vibe from the point of view of conversing with not only peers but vendors. There's that sales pressure isn't there by anybody, so you get to have like really meaningful conversations um, in and around, and you get to know people at a personal level. I think it's much different than any other thing, but from purely from a joining of GTIA, not only join GTIA, but that's not enough. You really need to get involved, find a community that you're interested in, get involved with that, learn what they're doing, see how that can. There's always something to do, and there's a lot of initiatives that we need to do in order to move our industry ahead.
So don't just join. You got to kind of like become active. And it sounds like you could do it your way, which is you sort of got active by steps. You didn't jump all in at once.
Yeah, you don't have to. You can tap into something that is of interest, regardless of where you are in the country or the world. There's parts of GTIA all over the world, and there's excellent ways that you can. I met some of my best industry friends here at GTIA because when you're sitting together to solve issues, you get to know each other better, and then from a human level, it's a very different thing. For an industry that's very, I don't know, technically oriented, having that human connection is very important.
Rafi, let's talk about the event we're here at. It was that amazing event last night with a beautiful view of the harbor of San Diego and a taste of music that we all grew up with and so on. Lots of great food, but it's also been an event filled with like a lot of thought leadership,
Yeah.
a lot of very interesting things. What are your thoughts on what we just experienced?
Look, I mean, I think we've seen these inflection points in the industry over the years, and when you're in long enough, you see the changes that are going on. We're hitting that inflection point right now. It happens to be as CompTIA transitioned to GTIA the same time that AI is taking a massive impact industry wide. Previously, we talked about security a lot, security. Those conversations are still happening, but now we have this other massive uh, opportunity, threat, massive change agent, all of those wrapped in one as it relates to artificial intelligence. And if you're not thinking about it, somebody is going to think about it for you. So learn from the people who are a little bit further along and teach the people that are a little bit behind you. That's really the goal.
Ravi, I really want to thank you for joining me today. Thanks for giving us some perspective as almost kind of like a man in the street, like an actual member, active, who's made the transition from one organization to the other, been involved, and so on. Where can we learn more about this organization, also about your company, Triada Networks?
Well, GTIA.org obviously is the main place, but if you're in the industry and you're not seeing something from GTIA on LinkedIn, there's something probably wrong. Definitely look it up there. There's a lot of social activity as well as it relates to the material they put out. Great research that GTIA puts out to industry vendor agnostic research, which is fantastic. Use that in your business, and then get involved and join us. And I run this little MSP, triadanet.com in New Jersey, focused on financial services clients. So look us up.
All right. Where can we find out more about Triada Networks?
Triadanet.com.
All right. Well, great, Rafi. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Doug.